Well, speaking of innovation,
Yeah.
The board took some action today along those lines as we are taking a big step forward in the world of solar energy.
Oh my, are we?
Let's talk about that.
Yes, and that was an exciting one. So staff's been working on this for a while, but we did our first agreement with a private utility entity, which is Dominion Virginia Power, to use renewable energy. A large amount of renewable energy, and in fact, in September we adopted our community energy plan, and that looked at us getting us to 50% renewable energy by 2020, I think it is, and then we were going to get even higher by 2020
for county operations.
For county operations, thank you for specifying. So we've got a number of goals to meet, and there's this solar farm that the Dominion Power is going to be building down in Pennsylvania County, almost down on the North Carolina border, and we're going to buy our power from that solar farm, which will actually get us to a number of our goals. It'll get us to about 80% of our energy coming from renewable sources, which is a big deal. Some of that came about because we're taking 30% of the power from that solar field. Amazon is taking the other. We're taking 30, they're taking the other 70.
Okay.
So that's how we're sort of splitting it out. So we're kind of riding a little bit our, Amazon has a lot of interest in doing renewable things, and we're kind of pushing them, and this is helping us as well. And it's great for the environment, for the planet. We're doing finally our bit to try to deal with climate change and try to help out. And I don't know, Eric, if you want to talk about so we had a little bit of an issue with trees and the solar farm at the last minute, which was kind of interesting.
A
little hiccup, yeah.
But we managed to get through it okay. We had in our community energy plan that we adopted, there was a policy goal there that any utility scale solar that we would not contribute to deforestation elsewhere around the state.
Like try to save the environment by ruining the environment. That kind of doesn't work.
Cut down the trees to put
But I
in
think
solar.
the truly innovative part about this is that, first of all, Arlington now, by entering this agreement, we are the first locality in the Commonwealth to enter into this kind of power purchase agreement. So we're leading the way that other localities, other jurisdictions could now follow. But it's also, I think it's really special in that we are complementing, we have our own goals in our community energy plan, but we're complementing the goals of Pennsylvania County.
Right.
They had expressly wanted to, they did their own analysis, presumably, about what is their economic future. Agriculture is waning. It's hard for agriculture to be profitable, and it's hard for localities to pull the taxes off of agricultural land. So they did their own economic development study, and they decided that they wanted to proactively be host to these kind of solar farms. So they've actually got several of them down there. I think the number that was
six. I think it's like 5 or 6.
And so we are getting, we're meeting our goals out of it, but we're also helping them achieve their goals. So it's win-win between a more urban community like Arlington, a wealthier, more urban community, and a rural community like Pennsylvania, that we're bringing some jobs down there. This creates jobs for them, and we're doing it in an environmentally responsible way. Yeah. So Dominion will, when they come in, they have to maintain buffers around the solar farm to protect the neighborhood surrounding the housing around the solar facility. So we're doing it in a responsible way. That's the number one point for us, and the way that I ultimately looked at. And Libby, you very rightly pointed out at our meeting that if we're going to be innovative, you have to be willing to accept that there could be some hiccups and some mistakes along the way. And
growing pains.
Growing pains, exactly.
Right.
And that's ultimately how I looked at this, is that we would prefer not to cut down any trees. It turns out it's a relatively small amount of trees. It's less than 10% of the area of the solar farm will need to be cleared. And I'd say a small price to pay for the overall gain that we are going to achieve.
But we got some reassurance at the meeting, and it was interesting. I mean, we found out at the very, very last minute, and in fact, we had just come out of closed session, and we were going to take up this item, and we suddenly got this information. So actually, quickly drafted a motion. We went back into closed session to talk with our attorney, and sort of figure out really what the parameters were. And I'm glad we were able to do that, because when we came out, there were a number of things that we, were able to figure out that made us feel better. Eric and I, in fact, we all belong to the Virginia Association of Counties, and they have an annual conference. And when I was there last fall, one of the presentations I did was on solar power, and it can be a problem. In some areas, if they haven't done a good job on their permitting and their oversight, these solar farms can cause all kinds of erosion that hurt the stream. I mean, it actually is a total step back. So I was worried about that, but we were reassured that they've got the permitting in place. The Pennsylvania County really knows what it's doing. I think it brings up, so, Eric, as you were saying, right now, agricultural land doesn't pay very well. It's hard. A lot of times these are actually fields that the farmers aren't using, so they might as well use it for this. Down the line, I think we're probably going to need those agricultural fields for food. And looking to the future, I see this as a transition to when we'll be producing much more of our own energy right here on site. And with the whole innovation issue, one of the things I'm talking about a lot are that we need to be looking at these windows that can produce solar energy. Because right now, a building that's high, if it's got just a roof like this, that roof cannot produce enough solar energy to do the whole building. But if you can get the windows doing it too, then that could power it. And we would be much more resilient. It'd be better for everybody if we can get producing our energy on site. But we need to make this transition and get away from fossil fuels as fast as we can. So I'm really pleased about how this is all working out. And it's kind of cool to have a partnership with Pennsylvania County in a way. Yeah. It's neat.
Now, one question I have is, will the residents, will the businesses here in Arlington, will they notice any kind of difference in the power availability here in Arlington? Will this affect bills?
No, and it's actually cost neutral. So no, they're not going to notice anything.
Good to know.
It's cost neutral, and this is actually our agreement as we are purchasing this power for our own.
For the county's use.
County's use. So this does not affect individual consumers. Now we might get to in a future agreement
where it could be a step to that.
Exactly.
I see this as just a first step.
Yep.
Yeah,
but definitely
so
being a leading charge in using renewable energy sources here.
We want to be carbon neutral by 2050, so we're going to have to do some stuff.
Okay, it's very interesting. We interested to see how this moves
It's
forward.
Cool.